I'm a third generation logger. My grandfather logged, my dad logged, and in high school I logged, in grade school I logged, but in high school I was there every summer. And I've been logging for 65 years.
With this operation there were some challenges. You're looking at some steeper ground, but the big thing really is there's an estuary down at the bottom. It's an estuarine wetland. Also just a standard wetland, significant wetland, greater than 8 acres. And then part of that was also estuarine. So you have that tidal saltwater influence, which requires extra protections, as well as the protections that you'd have normally with a large, significant wetland. So those were the things they had to worry about.
I think on this one we have the significant wetland and the estuary part, and that's tidal influence. So, you know, multiple times a day or over a 24-hour period, you're gonna have your high tide, your low tide. So trying to string your hay wire, get your layouts to hang across the estuary is a problem. I mean, you can't walk across it, you can't swim across it. In our case, we used the drone, and that was to our advantage, where we would fly all our layouts with the drone and nobody got wet. So it worked pretty good. And then our layout is on top of the canopy in the buffer, or the estuary down here. So you're not getting limbs knocked off, tops blown out of trees when things get tight.
Tail holes on the other side were too small, the trees were, so we actually used machinery on a road system that we brought in some 5 miles from here.
We had to go a long ways to get tail holts, so we went to a far ridge that had a road on it, and we were able to make road changes using our drone, which increased production. The whole thing was a complicated, tough operation, and really tough to figure out how to log, and tough to really figure out how to bid it and still make, you know, your profit.
From the cutting aspect, it was tough, because if you look on a map of this unit, it looks like a giant snake, the cutting line along the estuary and the wetland. And so those cutters really had to work hard to follow that. It wasn't a straight line to get opened up fast, so they really had to work hard, wedge trees, you know, and jack them to get them out of the estuary or the buffer, and to get them in the unit. And so they did a great job doing that.
You know, when the cutters are down there, they have to pay extra special attention to the trees, what trees to cut, what trees not to cut. Additionally, with that estuarine wetland, there's live tree requirements down there, so those have been marked as well. Anything that could be a potential perching or nesting tree. So those are also factors they had to consider.
The protection for the estuary and the wetlands is fantastic. It exceeds all the things in the state park. The ground here is too steep to have machinery in. And plus, we didn't want machinery down in and around the estuary. Everything on the unit here was hand felt. There's been no machine work here whatsoever. Completely hand cut and hand bucked here.
Another challenge was wildlife leaf trees that they had to account for from a previous operation that was on a adjacent landowner's property. So there were several wildlife trees, approximately 80.
So with the other timber company's wildlife trees, we had to move landings, move equipment. You know, instead of just changing our lines and keep logging, we had to log what we could and then run our lines in, move our yard or different landing, hang back over dead ground, just to get all the trees out of that area. It made it really difficult to do that and protect the other timber company's wildlife trees.
One of the problems we have on these kind of units close to the ocean, you get a lot of spruce. Their limbs are like 12, 14 inches around, and sometimes you think it takes a lot of manpower to clean up a spruce log to get it on the log truck. There's no way a processor can handle those big limbs. So there's a lot of bad factors about a spruce tree, and then the market's not usually very good for spruce. The pandemic was a nightmare. We were a critical industry, so we were not shut down.
the quarantine, you know, first when it started out was 14 days.
We drove like 4 and 5 vehicles to the job with 2 to 3 guys in each one, spaced apart with mask on.
But with COVID, when somebody on that crew got COVID, that, you know, the whole crew would stay home.
We had to make it work by robbing guys from other sides. We run several logging sites, so we would run shorthanded on one side, shorthanded on 2 sides, just enough to make sure we keep the sites going. But we had to be creative and work around it.
It's a complex unit. They came up with an innovative solution with the trams. They talked with adjacent landowners and spent the time to get that worked out so they could do the logging in a safe and effective and manner in a way that protected natural resources. You know, soil's in good condition, vegetation along the RMA is in good condition. Just did a top-notch job overall.